Okay.
Okay, so thanks again also from my side for joining this user group. And as you saw, Mohit and Hans are doing the moderation here. That's the reason is that for me this user group is very specific because after about 10 years it will be the last one. In December 2018, Fusion Point was joining forces with Amasol. And there were two main reasons for that. The one was to strengthen our footprint and our capability in terms of service level management. And the other point, which is, I would say both are in the same importance, is also to make a broader capability in terms of things that you need to do the proper service level management, especially monitoring and data analytics and all these things. And together with Amasol, we now can, let's say, offer this from one company and have this specific experience globally. So, and I was personally happy to support Amasol, the Amasol Group now, in making this transformation happen, make it successful, and not only for Amasol but also for our customers, because I think it's important when you change companies, change management. It's important to keep some kind of continuity, handover, etc. But now, after 2 exciting years, this job is done, and I can sail off for new shores, not shorts. So, and my so my future will be to make my make my experience available for the market in terms of business management, business transformations, and new business models. As we say in German, the world is small, and it would really be great to seeing you sometime and somewhere again. So, but however, I first owe my family and myself a kind of time to relax and gather new power. And but the usual sabbatical is not easy to do now. The travel through the world is not possible, but I think there are still good things to be done. I think the latest I read a book is quite some years ago, so I can do things like that. It's good. As you saw in the invitation, and I mentioned it before, Mohit took over the organization and the preparing the user group, as I'm out of Amasol already since the 1st of December. So all these technical things, invitations, etc., was not so easy for me to do. So he took over and will guide you through this topic, the user group meeting, together with Hans. And if you ask me on a recommendation for any successor, I would be happy if Mohit would be willing to run for that position and volunteer to make this job. Concerning the content today, I'm really happy that Beth Nicholson from FileServe will tell us about this amazing projects Amasol is going to realize and what already is achieved. And I'm really happy to that I could contribute at the start of this program with my experience. And the other thing is concerning BizOps. And I think that's something will be presented by Frank Jahn at the third presentation. And there maybe it comes also a bit back to the presentation from CA. So for me personally, BizOps is what my vision from service level management was also in the past. Because service level management means really connecting business and IT, or business and the technical services. And therefore, my hope would be that BizOps is now the right name for service level management to to really come to the attention of management and all people to be to understand how to connect business and IT and how to make the business then finally successful. And that's also maybe the bridge between what Broadcom is doing now with not only the product but also with its BizOps activity, and also Amazon with its BizOps activity. So I'm really interested to hear your opinion about this business things. And yeah, for sure, it's amazing for me to have this as my last user group. We tried to have it a bit before, but due to Thanksgiving and Diwali in India, etc., it ran a bit late. So I'm now joining from my private home office than from my Amazon home office, but that's not the problem. And so, without further words, I would hand over to Mohit and Hans for doing the moderation of the meeting.
Yep. So thank you, Dr. Zuf. You surely have led BSI User Group over the years in a fantastic manner. You have helped us get together time to time to share our ideas and thoughts on that, and keeping us all informed on the BSI activities all around the world. So I'm hoping you'll still be an active part of our group in future, and share your valuable experience and thoughts in future meetings. You are too young to retire, so hopefully we'll see you soon. So thank you once again, Dr. Zuf, for your valuable contributions towards this group.
Yes, and I would also like to extend a heartfelt thanks to Dr. Schneider for his contribution over the years to the user group. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes and a lot of coordination, and most certainly, for the most part, I think it's unpaid. But yes, thank you, Dr. Schneider. Now we would like to start our event with the first speaker, Shiva Ambeti. She is the product manager for BSI and Broadcom, and has been our ears for enhancement requests and the issues that we face in our day-to-day operations. And in the best capacity he could, Shiva, for the next few minutes, will walk us through BSI deployments with Broadcom, recent releases, and the next one's planned, along with an interesting discussion around AI ops. So thank you, Shiva, for your support over the years, and now over to you.
Yep, so
thank you, Hans.
Hi,
everyone. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yep, we can, Shiva.
Okay, all right. Thanks, everyone. First of all, thanks, Dr. Joseph, for all the contributions you have made over the years to the group and the way you have led the user group. Thank you very much for that. I will definitely miss you on the user group. I hope you continue to be active on the group and the community. Okay, having said that, a quick introduction about myself. So I have been with Broadcom for over 4.5 years now in the capacity of product manager. With BSI, it's been just over a year. I've been managing BSI just over a year, and this is my second user group conference. So it's been great, the first experience, and I hope this conference also brings some really good conversations and interesting questions. With that, for my agenda today, what I plan to do is I plan to walk you through what we have done with the product in the recent past. Then I'll also walk you through what we are currently working on, and some of the okay, there's some challenge with my sharing. Let me just try and do that. I'm not able to share. Okay, I'll have to quickly quit Zoom and join back. Apologies for that. Just give me a minute and I should come back.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, that's great, Shiva. Thank you. And apologies earlier. I think when I introduced you, I said she instead of he.
No problem.
I just wanted to say that when it comes to AI ops, this is ground changing, game changing. A vision that companies like Broadcom have in the market, moving forward from NetOps and looking at what AI ops can do for companies, certainly along the lines of breaking down data silos, eliminating operational noise, delivering a better customer experience, overcoming monitoring issues, and also contributing to solving the analytical challenges that exist in many large enterprise companies today.
All right, I'm back here. Let me try sharing the screen again.
I will. I don't like silence on calls like this, so I will keep talking.
Okay.
Are you there, Shiva?
Yes, I am there. I'm just
Shiva, are you getting the share option or?
I am getting the share option. It's just that my machine is not allowing me to share. I think it's now working. Let me share.
Okay. There you are. We've got you.
Yep. All right. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
So just one bit of housekeeping. Anyone that is not speaking, except for the moderators, should be on mute, please. We're getting a lot of crosstalk. Thank you very much.
Let me get started. So, as I said, the primary agenda for this conversation is to walk you through what has been released recently, and also walk through what we have been working and what's there in the future. Before we get in there, a little bit of a quick disclaimer. The disclaimer talks about that what we are currently talking about. There is some work in progress activity there. So the release dates and release timelines could change without prior notice. I'll leave it for a couple of seconds so that you can go over that. All right. Standard BSI introduction. I know most of the people here are very well versed with the product. In fact, probably would have spent more time with the product than I have spent with the product. But I'll take just a couple of minutes here before I jump into the roadmap, talking about the product. So we all understand the importance of managing relationships between both customers and suppliers, right? Managing the contract management, risk management, and all that, and all the relationships and contracts and everything. They all get surfaced up through service level reporting, and this reporting only adds value when the insights that you get from reporting are fed back into the system, and which leads into continuous improvement and taking proactive action so that the same mistakes or penalties do not happen in the future. So let's see how BSI fits into enabling continuous improvement here. So what BSI provides is a top-down contract and service-centric approach to contractual SLAs between customers and service providers, right? This is integrated with service and service level performance management, which enables you to avoid penalties, reduce SLA disputes, and thereby becoming proactive, improving in the service experience with the end customer. The end customer could be anyone. Basically, end customer is someone who is consuming your services. So end customer could be your IT department, or it could be a customer outside of your organization. So it doesn't matter who the end customer is. What BSI does is it automates the report generation, data collection, aggregation, and correlation, and making that correlation, thereby improving the outcome and resulting in fewer disputes between the customer and the service provider. So this is a quick introduction of the product. Uh, Now let's get into the roadmap and the activity that is happening around BSI. Let's start with quickly looking at what we have released in the recent past. So I'll go back a couple of releases and discuss what we released, and then come to what we're currently working on or has been planned. Let's start with the release that we did in late 2019, that is 8354. With this product, what we released was support for enterprise mode on i11, and BSI was also made compatible with single tier environments of Oracle 12c. Till that release, it was only compatible with multi-tier environments. We also brought in the support for Adopt OpenJDK, where we replaced Oracle Java with Adopt OpenJDK. Along with those things, we also did a bunch of quality improvements, security related vulnerabilities, and also a JBoss upgrade, which would fall into the tech currency bucket. So that was our 8354 release. Then earlier this year, in September, we released another version of the product, another minor version of the product. Our primary target with the release was providing a solution for the upcoming Flash end of life. So with that release, we replaced the Flash component for a few modules in the product. Specifically, we had replaced it for contracts and the BRV. As part of that activity, we upgraded the underlying Fusion Chats component to a version 3.15. So with that release, we completely removed the footprint of Flash from the product, and it would not depend on Flash any further. Apart from that, we also brought in the compatibility with Oracle 19c and Windows 2019 Server. And when I talk about Oracle 19c, we have compatibility with both the server and the client now. There were certain glitches before we went into the release, where we were struggling to provide certification with the client. But then we found a way, and we were able to certify it on both the server and the client. Apart from that, a bunch of quality improvements, defects that were raised by customers, and security and vulnerability issues that were addressed. So that's a quick summary of the releases that we made in the recent past. Now, let's look at what we are currently working on, what the current focus is. So we are investing in upgrading the BSI architecture from a 32-bit architecture to a 64-bit architecture. Why we are doing this? This basically would allow our customers and to address a number of performance issues. What we have observed is of all the defects, or of all the support cases that are raised with us on the BSI product, a significant chunk of them are related to performance issues, where you would see that either I have to restart my PSL writer, or the application would have crashed and we would have to start again, or I'll have to go and do my data archiving so that the PSL writer can start working again. So these are the major areas of defects that we saw. And Uh, One common thread that came out of analysis was that if we upgrade the architecture to 64-bit, this would address most of the performance issues, and that's the reason why we are working on upgrading the architecture to 64-bit now. So what would that do? It would enable customers to take advantage of the 64-bit architecture, which would in turn mean that they would be able to process a lot more data, uh, and uh, and it will make the system robust. So you would hopefully not see any of the crashes or PSL writer hanging up and not working, and then you have to delete or archive the data. So all these troubles should be taken care of as part of the architecture upgrade. We would be upgrading a lot of third-party libraries, underlying C++ components, and third-party components as well. So a lot of work is going in there in terms of upgrading the product itself. As part of it, because we would be touching a lot of components and uh, upgrading them, we would also do a quality check, and that would help us even improve the existing quality of the product. So that's what we are currently working on. Any questions so far before I move into what we plan to work in the near future? I would take it as a no then. Okay. What we have under consideration for future is the highest on the bucket list is browser compatibility. This would enable customers to start using the latest the modern browsers like Chrome and uh, Safari and all Chromium-based browsers, even Internet Explorer, the latest version of Internet Explorer, which is Chromium-based. So that would be the highest priority that we would have, and to achieve that, we would have to do some research around the underlying components, what we have to change. So once we are through the 64-bit architecture upgrade, we plan to get onto that. One other important area that we are looking at is providing a possibility to integrate with other reporting tools like Jaspersoft or Power BI. The idea there is to provide a standard reporting schema so that the output can be consumed by any of the reporting tools, be it Jaspersoft, be it Power BI or Microsoft's tools or anything, so that you crunch the data and then you feed it into any of the reporting systems, and they would be able to consume and show your reports. This idea is still and all these ideas are still in ideation stages. So if at all you have any thoughts around how we can do that or what needs to be done, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can schedule some time to discuss these things. Then we are also looking at some usability enhancements in terms of UI and user experience. But again, as I said, still at ideation stage. And if you have any thoughts around user experience, I know user experience for BSI is a big topic, but we are not talking about wholesale changes to the entire user experience, but changes which would have a bigger impact, but not very expensive in doing those changes. So we are looking at those tiny bit changes that would make a big impact from a user experience point of view. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any thoughts around those. That concludes what we have been doing on the product. If you have any questions, I am open to take those questions.
Yes, I have a question. Here's Dick Bopmüller talking. I'm very interested in the topic browser compatibility. At the moment here, we on our customer side, yeah, we still have the Internet Explorer on our desktop environment. Yeah, it's still included, but it's foreseeable that this will be not the case in near future. Due to this, there's a strong recommendation on our side that other browsers will be supported. And my question is, due to this, to the point browser compatibility, when can you give us some view what is will be planned? Will you switch to other browsers than Internet Explorer, and when this will be available?
Unfortunately, I cannot give you a timeline at this point in time because we are still working on the 64-bit architecture. So once we are done with that, that would be the next step, logical step to take.
Yeah, but this may lead in the situation that the Internet Explorer client yeah, is not available on customers' environment because yeah, it's provided by general IT requirements and cannot consider such specific tools which needs an already outdated browser. What will be then your answer if this will happen?
So what I've seen, I've read through some of the articles around the Chromium-based browsers, Internet Explorer also looking at, I mean, Microsoft also looking at Chromium-based browsers. But what I've also read is that even if Internet Explorer already has a Chromium-based browser, but it would still give you the ability to switch to a enterprise mode and be able to use it. So that would give you an experience that is uh, switching to an older version of the browser. And at that point of time, you would still be able to use the product.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So, short question from my side, Joachim from Amazon, regarding the 64-bit. So on the slide, you said 64-bit compatibility. So I think even if it's 32-bit currently, it's compatible because it's running on 64-bit environments. Is it meant that you will transfer it to a native 64-bit application in that step?
Yep.
Okay, understand. Yeah, makes more sense. Yeah.
So if I can about this, would the PSL writers as executables be changed as well as their source code? So I think they're 32-bit as of now.
Yeah. So we would have everything working on 64-bit architecture.
Yeah, and as I understood, natively then 64-bit, because currently all processes around BSI, all executables are 32-bit.
On 32-bit. Yeah.
Shiva, I have a question. This is Hans from Amazon.
Sure, Hans.
Looking at the merger between CA and Broadcom, it certainly has changed the landscape to a degree. I think there's many companies out there that are using the CA product set that are happy to see that Broadcom has kept a close working relationship with CA going forward, and I think that relationship will continue on, and would hope to see that many of the products would continue on in a longer term. Where do you see? Where does Broadcom see not just BSI but the CA product set going forward over the next 2, 3, 5 years? Are you able to tell us that there's a commitment that that Broadcom believes in what they've acquired when they merged with CA?
That's a great question, Hans. From my perspective, or from what I've learned, Broadcom do not have any plans to, I would say, stop supporting any of the CA products, at least in the near future. So you should be confident that we would continue to support on the products that we have.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure.
Okay,
Any
hoping that the near future meant 100 years.
I've put a disclaimer right at the beginning, right?
I think in this current environment, the near future means the next 30 days.
Yeah, I think, Joseph, here, I think for depending on our discussion on the BizOps and how this goes on, maybe the just a recommendation for the next user group could also be a presentation from Broadcom on their business BizOps plannings, because I could imagine, as I said in the introduction, that service level management plays quite a role in also the BizOps plans for Broadcom. So that would be interesting, and not only talking about product names, but also, let's say, solution sets. But that's maybe an idea for the next user group.
Sure, Dr. Joseph, taken.
Shiva, one more time. This is Hans. You know the long-term roadmap and the plans for Broadcom's AI Ops suite of software.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that there's a direct link between AI Ops and service level management. What does that look like from a Broadcom perspective?
Definitely that definitely fits into that model where you want to look at your AI ops and then do reporting at BSI level. We are working on things internally, but at this point in time, I cannot comment anything on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely looking at those possibilities of using for reporting in AI ops and all that.
I think for the attendees from the BSI User Group that are on the call today, I most certainly I think it makes a difference, and that you should be looking at AI Ops as a way forward to tie into what you're doing along with service level management, and bringing and what you're doing with the data, what you're doing with the analytics. And it will be interesting to see how that develops with Broadcom over the next few months. Thank you, Shiva.
Sure, we can probably pick up a topic in our next user group.
That would be great. Okay. Any further questions? We can leave the table open for the next 15 seconds. Please, we get Shiva, once every few months, or someone from Broadcom every few months. So please ask any questions that you might have now.
That's not completely true, Hans. I mean, we do respond to emails and any other queries.
Oh, I just mean for the user groups.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. We know that. And we have a very close working relationship with Broadcom, and
Right.
we're quite happy with how that's been working.
Okay, so looks like no more questions for now. So maybe we can also, park for later during the end of the user group. So we still will have time to, throw questions at Shiva.
Sure.
But
I'll be around, so you could definitely ping me and ask me a question.
Yeah. So thank you, Shiva, for sharing the roadmap and the Broadcom future plans for BSI. Being partners to Broadcom over years and supporting multiple customer implementations for BSI and service management, we still think that BSI is still the strongest tool in the market for service level management. Like all other IT tools, it has its own shortcomings, but BSI should not be looked as a standalone tool, but as an important part of your overall SLM solution. For example, have your ETL processes built for data management, use BSI for contract management and calculations, and use your enterprise reporting tool for reporting and presentations. Power BI, Grafana, so all this for presentation. This could be one of the recipes for the perfect SLA solution in an organization and making full use of BSI.
Yes, and to complement what you just said, Mohit, we are happy to have Beth Nicholson here today with us. early in the morning from the East Coast of the USA, as a second speaker of the day, who will present her thoughts and her journey towards the transformation of service management within one of the biggest payment gateway and financial companies in the world. Now, for those of you that don't know Fiserv, we'll just give you just a little bit of background. They're a global provider of financial services and technology, and their clients include thrifts, credit unions, security broker dealers, leasing and finance companies, and retailers. They have an enterprise suite of products and services that they deliver to their clients globally. And in 2015, American Banker and BAI ranked the company third by revenue among technology providers to US banks. Fiserv is one of the Fortune 500 companies, but I will tell you that they are most recently probably in the Fortune 100. And Fortune named them as the world's most admired company on their companies list, and in the 7th consecutive year they've been on the list, and the 10th time in the last 12 years. Now, maybe what you don't know is that 2 years ago, that Fiserv and First Data merged, creating one of the big, strong companies that are delivering payment services around the world. I can now see Fiserv's logo when I go to Germany. I can see it when I'm in the UK. It is a global distribution network now. Beth Nicholson is responsible for working with service level management within Fiserv, but it's a lot bigger than that. So this is a big digital transformation project, and that project involves working with the separate elements of Fiserv and First Data to combine the resources and the technology and to consolidate them so that the company is more competitive, is more profitable, and can grow much faster. Beth's remit is far-reaching in that above service level management, she works with systems within Fiserv that are used to make executive business decisions, and also she is working with a number of different tools, a number of different platforms, and the coordination of her team has been assisted by Amisol and a number of other companies. And I'd like to introduce Beth Nicholson to you now. Beth?
Thank you. I want to make sure that you can hear me, that everything seems to be working well. And I will switch over and share my screen. I wanted to say a couple things before I get started. First of all, thank you for the privilege of getting to share with the group today. This is something that I've wanted to do for the whole last 12 months, I think. So very honored to be able to speak to so many of you who are sharing the same tools, some of the same partnerships and advice. Wonderful to be able to be here with you today. I also just wanted to say that just give my thanks to Joseph for the partnership, his part in that partnership, and the work that he's done, such insightful support. And the support that we've received from this Amisol team has been bar none, like really like nothing else I've been privileged to have in coming alongside of the program, and at such a crucial time. I'm not only grateful for what we've been able to accomplish this year, but we are making them a permanent part of our 2021 plans to be able to further the work that we're doing. So thank you, and thank you for the opportunity today just to be able to share a little bit of that.
Thanks a lot, Beth.
Very heartfelt. So I am going to I am not a proficient Zoom user, so let me just see what I can do here. There we go.
Beth, we can hear you loud and clear.
Great.
And we also could hear your message loud and clear. So thank you very much for that.
You're no welcome necessary. You've earned every bit of it. So thank you. I am going to move to presentation. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there were several things I wanted to share today, and I'm going to start with a little bit of introduction. I have been in the quality space for longer than I want to admit, about 25 years. And it seemed that no matter where I went, what my area of focus was, I've never been on the revenue generating side. I have always been on the side of the quality measurements and metrics. Started out in the healthcare industry, actually, and back in the days of the big HMOs and some of the big healthcare movement that occurred at that time. Moved into some independent consulting, and I came to a company called CheckFree. And this spring, it will be 20 years since I made that move as an independent consultant. Actually ended up hiring on with them, and they were acquired by Fiserv not very long thereafter. So really, I've been with Fiserv or a subsidiary of Fiserv for that whole 20 years. The past 10 years have been very focused on service level management. So what I'd really like to talk to you about today is some of the things that we're doing with service level management today, and why the platform and architecture design that we're using in cooperation with BSI is so critical to our ability to scale, to grow very quickly, and to be able to create a platform that is very dynamic and scalable. And I may use those terms over a few times. So just a little bit of background. I'm going to talk about Fiserv, service level management, some of the platform integration that we're doing, and some of the business real-time decisioning that is underway now. Jeff Yabuki is our former CEO. He's the executive chairman of Fiserv. He said, "We expect as Fiserv to redefine the manner in which people and institutions move money and information." And that's where a lot of our focus. We have some amazing statistics I want to share with you, but the primary aspiration is to move money and information in a way that moves the world. And one of the key topics over the years has been being able to move at the speed of the lives of people, and you know how quickly technology is growing. The financial industry is growing so quickly, moving into those, even into the AI space. But point of sale has just transformed over the past several years. So it is an amazing market to be in. It's an amazing place. Some of the some highlights. I know Hans was talking about being one of Fortune world's most admired companies, 7 years in a row. There's some amazing things. I won't go through all of this, but just some of what we do. More than 12,000 financial transactions per second that are flowing through this company. 33 consecutive years of double-digit adjusted growth, and Better Business Bureau and Moody and some of those groups, just a lot of strong accolades for an amazing company. I can tell you, as someone who's been here with the company, it's a wonderful place to work. It's a good market space to be in. But even more than that, service level management is the critical transformative place that I want to remain in over the coming years. I don't know if I would even move if I had opportunity out of this space, because I believe in the criticality of the client relationship, the ability to be in that client's office, provide SLA reporting and insight to them that reflects their experience accurately and well, and also takes that insight, and I want to talk about this, and turns that back into the organization for the benefit of the team and of the company. So um, really wonderful to be here with other people who are so involved in service level management. One of the highlights, one of the uh, uh, light bulbs I think that has occurred in the last year or two is that I believe in the past we've been so um, inundated by the process itself that we're looking at SLAs as a cost to be avoided, and we're almost consumed by the process itself. As we've been able to grow and establish what we're doing, we're able to get out from under the process to be able to see the value of the information we have coming in. We are able to mitigate financial, not just financial risk, but reputational risk, um, client risk, legal risk to the organization through what we're doing. We can provide insight not just into revenue that is coming into the company, but into that revenue that's going out the door. This creates a real competitive advantage for any organization. And probably I will talk to you today in terms of not just Fiserv specifically, but really what this program does across any organization and the potential that's there that I believe is there through developing and deepening our capabilities around this information. Um, Obviously, the client relationship incredibly important, and really being able to give our clients a one, not just a one Fiserv experience, a one company experience, to let them know that we understand who they are, we understand what their experience is with us, and to bring that together. This is our vision statement for my organization. We're looking for two things. One is to strengthen that client relationship, and one is to reduce Fiserv risk. And that, as I said, financial, reputational, legal, all of those things, to eliminate that so that Fiserv is more stable, so that our clients have a better experience. So it's a broader picture than just only having competitive, achievable standards in our contract negotiation and performance against goals. It really is also the real-time transparency into what's going on within our organization, what does that cost look like to us, and how do we mitigate those risks to be able to provide an accurate client experience. Just a little insight into how I see our function. We get involved right from the beginning in the contract standards and negotiations. Obviously, there's a lot of contract and SLA administration, client and business reporting, impact assessment, incident management impact assessment, along with many other kinds of metrics. And then what I call remediation. I heard the word penalties used. Probably you will hear me refer to those as credits to the client. We've made a very purposeful um, change to going with that terminology of talking about credits back to the client if there is a situation of quality that falls below the expected goal. We are very fortunate to have some very high quality and high percentage of meeting our SLAs. But if service level management does not do its job, there are clear consequences to any organization. Um, agreeing to unsupportable or unattainable SLAs puts companies at financial risk. It sets us up for failure. Not providing SLA scores at all, or not doing them well or consistently even, has consequences up to and including breach of contract with our clients. And then having an inability to mitigate credit payouts can leave any company vulnerable. I believe Hans is partly responsible for helping us do some ROI, which showed that 2 to 5% of our revenue, which is a massive number that could be crippling. So a lot of good reason for this. Also, just an important concept, remediation. So credits back to the client, being able to make amends for lost quality is not the same as client satisfaction. We've had some amazing stories and back from our clients around what it really means to them for us to be able to hit our quality targets. Credit payouts did not mean that that client is likely to recommend that LTR score. Higher targets, having 99.9 or 99.95 targets does not necessarily, even though they're really being asked for at a higher and higher rate in the negotiation process, does not necessarily mean satisfaction. One of my favorite stories is something that just occurred recently, where a client came back to us and said they had negotiated for an extremely high, something like 3, 4 nines in some of their targets. And they came back to us and said, we would rather have, we are satisfied with our performance. We are not experiencing disruption, and we don't want to have to go back to our board and explain to them why we're receiving credits when we're happy with the service. They actually came back and asked us to make those targets at a very reasonable, even on a Six Sigma type score, a very high target. And we were meeting that quality, but because of the extreme nature of some of those targets that they had negotiated for, they were receiving credits. They didn't want to have to explain that when they were satisfied completely with the service. So things like that never happen, have never happened in the industry, but the heat is getting turned up. What's being required of us is higher and higher. And we have to be able to look at our environment and say, okay, of the incidents that are occurring, what is SLA impacting? What are correct standards and targets? And then how do we mitigate that lost revenue? It is possible, even in the moment, to be able to provide that information back and mitigate our risk with our clients and with our financial. So connecting systems and people, this is really what I want to get to. This is a slide, and are you able to see my full screen?
Yes.
My video doesn't get in your way, right? Okay. This is a story, sort of like a storyboard of all of the pieces and parts that have to come together to help us construct a correct SLA story. We have so many good, strong partnerships within the organization, client data systems, product and application systems, all of the pieces that go into creating a contract. Incident and problem management systems, and then some of the non-incident based metrics such as call center, file transmission, response times, and things that I know many of you are familiar with. All of those come together and help us to construct an SLA story that is accurate and reflects the client experience and protects the organization in ways such as not paying out credits on multiple reports. If it was one system that went down, that wouldn't be financially responsible to do for the company either. So you have a checks and balances type of model where you're bringing all of those things together to create the truth. And BSI has been, especially Hans was referring to our merger, especially on the first data side, BSI has been a central component of constructing that story. And part of what I want to talk to you today about is what we're doing with BSI to create a full model around this functionality. Obviously, after this, we have a lot of partners within the organization. We have a very strong audit program to make sure that we capture or don't let any errors out the door. The reporting goes to our clients has to be perfect every time. Internal monitoring and dashboarding, I'm going to share a little bit about that with you, getting this into the client hands, having a client portal that gives them a singular experience with our organization, and then putting that into the client's hands in their office. Also, we report all of the credits out to finance to be applied to the invoice. if they are received, and then that information goes back to our partners within the organization so they can assess quality. I want to make sure I leave some time for questions. I'll make sure I leave some at the end. If anyone has anything, feel free to stop me though in the moment. Okay. This is something that I've been working on for a good part of the year, and it's also a place where our Amisol team has been able to provide a lot of insight for me and into what we're doing. As I was pulling this together for this conversation, it occurred to me that in order to demonstrate what we're doing in platform integration, I don't even have to talk about Fiserv. These are principles that I believe are best practices in our industry. And there are advantages to creating an environment that uses tools like BSI, our BSI tool, and complementing it with an analytics environment that has a lot of automation capability. And this is what we're doing. If I could back up just 1 second, I want to let you know that where in our merger, Original First Data had a very centralized service level management program. Original Fiserv had, just by nature of how it grew, it had a lot of division specific functionality. We are being asked to pick up in a 6-month period 8 divisions. And it's a daunting task. So we have to take our service level management capabilities to a new level, and we have to do it very quickly. So one of the things that occurred as we brought our Fiserv and Original First Data teams together, we realized that there was this amazing compatibility between our systems. Original First Data had a wonderful instance and setup of BSI. And as you all know well, it has some good capabilities around resources, sort of that CMDB model, foundational entities, outputting that results data, a great user interface, and adapter capabilities for automation, being able to do quick intake of content and data. Those were capabilities that we did not want to lose. On the other hand, we had the Fiserv side had an analytics environment that was very dynamic, very scalable, a lot of automation. It happens to be Microsoft Stack, but I don't think it requires a Microsoft Stack to do what we've done. A lot of automation around audits and reporting and dashboarding and publication of the reports. We began to look at the two of these and realize that there was a natural sort of collaborative opportunity here to bring them together. I want to talk about the advantages of doing this and what we both have seen already and some of the things that we anticipate seeing. Allowing BSI, so supplementing these two together, it allows BSI to leverage the calculation engine for the metrics that are heavy lifting. The ones that are simple, we don't need to take up calculation engine energy to be able to address those. We can bring them in already pre-formatted. It allows BSI to accept better formatted metric data and reduce use of spreadsheet pickups. So we have some automation here that will allow us to take data that has already been, to use a word that doesn't exist in Webster, data that's already affinitized and pulled together and scrubbed to some degree so that it's all aligned, it's all similar. We can reduce our overhead in BSI and save it for those metrics and places that truly are very complex and heavy lifting in terms of our PSL writers and how our resources are set up, how we are architected. And then obviously leveraging the strong interface and UI capabilities that frankly on the original Fiserv side, we lacked. There was a lot of manual entry happening. It was wonderful to see that capability and be able to integrate it. Um, from the analytics environment, there is an opportunity here to increase the automation around data collection. I talked about reducing our spreadsheet pickups and things like that. We want to be able to tap into systems that are standard to Fiserv and help to drive adoption of enterprise systems by when groups come to us and they want support, we say, here's our certified data, a client data repository. Here are our centralized incident management systems. These are our expectations. There's some minimal viable criteria necessary for support. And that helps us drive adoption of enterprise systems and then eventually efficiency of the whole organization. We can pre-align some of the data as I was talking about, reduce adapter usage. Leveraging a full reporting and analytics stack has some advantages to it. Everything communicates well when you're using a full stack environment. Also, it opens up a very broad range of dashboarding reporting. I was very excited to hear Shiva mention Power BI as a potential option. That's something that I would love to understand a little bit better and hear what those possibilities are. So, and then aligning and automating alternate posting and publication. The analytics stack has the ability to tap directly into SFTP servers where we're pushing out reporting for our clients. It has the ability to directly output into our SharePoint environments, our client portal environments, and that kind of very broad technical capability, in addition to BSI, makes this a very scalable model. We are in the process right now of rolling this out. Almost all of it already exists. I think what we're still working on is some of the automation between the two environments to keep them talking to each other and in sync. So this is something that I believe is going to make our very demanding next 6-month schedule possible. And I would recommend this merged analytics environment and BSI capability to anyone that is in this industry. Just a couple more thoughts just to wrap up. Sorry about that. There we go, decisioning. This is something that I wish so much I could share with you. So much so that I took the risk of putting in a blurred image for you to see, just so that you can have an idea of what we are now doing in our dashboarding environment. This is so exciting. We have the ability to actually have an incident come through the door and immediately know not only what products and what clients are going to be impacted, but to understand from a revenue perspective and from an SLA perspective, what the cost of that incident has the potential to be for the company. We're also able to aggregate that information up and show top dollars on where are we being impacted, what does that look like, a very dynamic time scale so that we can look at 2 full years of client quality or drill down to a client. We're able to break this this data down by incident, by product, by division, by client, and look at our top risk clients and understand who is being hurt. Sometimes the impact to a client is not just about their revenue. You can have repeated incidents for even lower revenue clients that present a relationship risk. There's a place I want to take these in the next year that is a little bit beyond and that is also looking at termination clauses, which I'm sure many of you know have a level of complexity like nothing else we work with. A lot of and or statements that put a very complex picture together of what is potentially required if a client would want to terminate a contract. Those are the types of things that we need to have on our radar, and we need to be pushing back into the organization. So we're very proud of this. We're also very grateful for all of the work that our Amisol team has put into helping us to develop and design this. Has just been a tremendous accomplishment this year, and we are now at the point of rolling this out to our partners. And I can tell you, it is changing the way we talk. It's changing our conversations. In some instances, it's really kicking up some a storm, to for lack of a better term, in a level of awareness that our business partners are not accustomed to having. This is revolutionary for us, and so tremendously advantageous for us to have this in our hands and to be able to use it and drill down into this information on demand. So very grateful for this and all of the work that's gone into it. All of the expertise and the background that also, I'm sorry that I keep saying it, I just can't help myself, but what this Amisol team has provided has been tremendous. And we're so grateful for that and really excited to be rolling this out now in 2021. And I think all of us are very excited for 2021. With that, I'm just going to open it up. I know just a few minutes here, but just in case anyone has any questions that I might be able to answer, I'd be more than glad to do that.
The best, Joseph here. So thanks a lot for this wonderful presentation. I'm really happy that also the how to say, the cooperation is so great. Just one remark from my side. It's you said at the beginning you didn't work for revenue generation. I think it's and that comes from the German to the English. So revenue for me is more sales and turnover. But what you and I think what we all in the service level management we are doing, we are working for earnings and profit generation.
Yes.
That's because, as we say in German, a lot of revenue is nothing if you don't have a profit out of it.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's right. The point.
And we are saving that profit margin.
Yes, absolutely.
On a very big scale. When you think of 5% of the bottom line having the potential to go out the door, that's something that we want to get in front of. So.
Absolutely, and I think that's also then a good bridge to the BizOps, this combination between business and IT to say, okay, what's business? It's not only the turnover, it's also profit and how that is, and so on and so on. And what I also had in the past, sometimes people were a bit astonished when I said if SLAs are too green, that's not a good thing. That's something where you could reduce complexity, could reduce redundancy, and save money as well.
That's true. It's almost a Six Sigma type principle, right? Where you're looking for that combination of time, quality, and cost, and finding the correct balance to providing good quality for your clients.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, all of you, for letting me share. I appreciate this very much.
Thank you much.
And Beth, might I add that that's a very good point that Joseph made. So well done, Joseph. And also, and I think it's very critical to realize that, and I think I can say this because it's not confidential. This is information that you can get almost anywhere, including something generic as Wikipedia. Fiserv reported a total revenue of 10.2 billion in 2019. I don't think we have to do the math to say that even at a very conservative level, if you assume a certain profit margin, if they are losing anywhere from 1 to 2 to 5% of their profit, well, you do the math.
Yes, very big.
And the other thing I want to add, going back to the screen that Beth had with the dashboard, yes, it was blurred out. I will tell you one thing right now. If you see that dashboard, you can instantly see in near real time everything you want to see. There is so much information loaded into just one screen. And one of the boxes is actually a box that shows the credits, or as you might refer to them, penalties or payouts. Mm-hmm. And that number is changing, on a regular basis. And it's not just that dashboard. We're talking about 8 divisions here across Fiserv globally. We're talking about onboarding 8 divisions, and those senior decision makers of those divisions or pillars, they all want their own dashboards. They all want their own information. They want timely information so they can make timely business decisions.
Yes.
And that's sitting at the core of this. I'm not saying that BSI does everything, but sitting at the core of this, and you saw it in the diagram that Beth had, is BSI. So I think the innovative, futuristic way of looking at BSI from a Fiserv perspective, it really makes my day. I mean, it's something that gets me out of bed in the morning.
Me too.
Yep.
Great. Well, let's open it up to questions. Please, we're not only halfway through, but this is kind of at the core and the center of our user group meeting today. So please ask Beth while we have her on the line.
Actually, I have a question, Hans, for Beth. Hi, Beth. It's Kerry Chrysandris here. I'm new to AMSOL. I've just joined as a senior consultant. But on the costing side, are you measuring just the credits payouts, or are you actually measuring how much it costs to run your services?
We are really focused on the credits and the payouts, but what we're doing is we're sort of bumping those up against the revenue, and we're letting and profit, to be fair. But we are allowing some of the other groups who do that work to come up with those revenue numbers. We just consume and use them as a display of what's actually going out the door.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, further questions? I think the presentation is quite deep, and one thing for certain, when we send out the deck after the user group meeting, you may come up with further questions then as well. I mean, please feel free to channel those through Mohit, and we'll be sure to get you an answer. We know how to find Beth.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm sure Beth's presentation would have been very insightful for everyone, as it really showcases one of the real world use cases of how BSI could be fitted in the SLM architecture. So thank you, Beth, for your participation and presentation, and again, a warm welcome to the BSI World User Group community.
Thank you. A privilege.
Okay, well, we have a Q&A at the end of the session as well. So if you think of or you have further questions for Beth, she's with us until the end of the call. So please, please log those questions and then ask them at the end. Okay, let's move on to our next speaker. My question is, what is BizOps? I mean, the standard definition for BizOps in Wikipedia is that BizOps is a framework for optimizing software development and delivery to foster the achievement of business objectives. IDC says BizOps is a data-driven decision support mechanism that connects business and technology functions together to drive business outcomes. Both definitions are true. But now Frank Jan from AMSOL would give his views and understanding of BizOps based on his experience working within the framework and discipline of living in a BizOps world. Frank, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Hans. Yes, my name is Frank. I'm head of sales and marketing at AMSOL. I'm in this industry for 25 years, and service level management was from beginning on an objective and motivation which has driven me up to now. And what I'm trying with my presentation today is that I would like to give you a very hands-on approach to BizOps. It's a great word, and don't worry, I won't take the chance to throw a lot of content and definitions to you. The definition is, I keep the definition rather short. I would like to really make it tangible and and try to connect it to people who are running service level management today. All right, let's start. Can I share my screen? Yes, I can. And I take my, this is the second screen here. All right. And I need to go into this one. All right. So let's start. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Except myself. I have no. It's getting okay. So I had a very short and what I was trying to present here was a driven world. And the last slide of Beth was she was ending with the confirmation of a big trend of service level management, which we are currently facing. This is, I would call it the what? Sorry.
Thank you. In the presentation, we are seeing both.
Okay. Sorry for that. Should. Let me.
So maybe if you reshare with the other screen.
Yeah, I do. Sorry for that. Okay. Okay, so that's it.
Okay. While we were waiting for the presentation to load, I think that one of the things that the entire BizOps world is talking about is just how that discipline will drive businesses forward and what real business benefit will contribute to the bottom line. And to that end, I know that there are a lot of forums and a lot of blogs and a lot of sources of information, conferences, etc. I mean, BizOps is relatively new, but Amisol, for example, runs a BizOps forum every year. Certainly, I'll mention it here because if you're interested in BizOps, then certainly, let us know. because it happens every year. It's in Munich, which is a wonderful place to visit. But most certainly, it's the content is very, very good. The other thing I wanted to mention, as long as we have a bit of a gap here, is that if you have any questions that either come up after this meeting, or if you would prefer not to ask them during the meeting, but would still like an answer, then either please just email them to us. And if you can email them to us, we can see if we can get them answered before the end of the session. I know it's not always convenient to ask those questions in a group, and maybe the question is a bit more of a company-based question. So it may be a question that you don't want the group to to participate in. So please do that. In the meantime, Mohit, if you could just give us, is there an email address or a way that the group can contact you? Is that something?
Mohit already shared it in the chat.
Yep. So I've just
And
dropped
also,
an email.
Yep.
So in case we would be happy to share some of the content what we have shared in this user group today. So either you can drop in your email in the chat box, or email me at the email addresses in the chat box.
The point is that in the here in the chat you don't see the full name and also not the email address. Therefore, that's a good thing. And as Hans said before, for the contact, so for sure I'm not out of the world. If you want to get in contact with me, my old email address does not work anymore, but you find me on LinkedIn quite easily, and send me a message and connect with me if you like. And let's say maybe also as a bit of a how to say, connection to the BSOPs, what Frank said, what Hans said was the BSOPs community. That's I think also what with Beth's presentation, it came quite clear. It's not only the software you have, it's also about the processes, the best practices around the software. It's how you integrate it in your enterprise architecture from a technical and process and people point of view. And that is things that I'm really happy that we have this discussion now in the user group, because it was in the past sometimes quite only focused on software. So I'm happy to see a bit the change to also discuss about this process and things around. And encourage you. You can also join the BSOPs community. There's a BSOPs community. I'm sure Frank will show that what's possible on that side. And as Hans said, in May there is. I always say we. I'm not. It's only some days ago, but in May there is the BSOPs community. But I think it will still be next time not in it will be in Munich from a logistics point of view, but it will be a virtual event. You can register, you can participate from everywhere in the world, and that's for sure the advantage of things like that now being as well in the internet. So we are flexible on that, and there it's the main topic is also to exchange in a community best practices and experience with these kind of topics.
Here I am. Sorry, that was a hard stop. Sorry for that. Oh God.
No problem, Frank. Yeah.
Extremely sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Fine, Frank. We had some other information to give to the group, and also we made a small mention about the BizOps forum and the BizOps community, and
we made the community very curious about you, and now you
Oh, got
just
it.
you
Don't
came in
rise,
just in
don't
time.
rise the bar too high.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. It's
Okay. So I'm glad I'm back, and this is a good example for the current trend which we see in service level management, which is do-it-yourself, and I would call it do-it-yourself dashboarding is the big trend in SLA management at currently. And why that? So we hear from our customers, and Beth confirmed that on her last presentation page, that everybody wants this real-time overview, real-time reporting, and everybody's now trying to work with data and data analytics. And we see a big problem here, and I would say the whole trend is driven by the public cloud and hyperscaler as well, because so easy. In the beginning, when we started in the good old days of Oblicore, the predecessor product of BSI, there was I remember a slide where people kicked around Excel documents, and so we do not have the threat of Excel anymore. Or we still have it, but it became a bit more complex now. So we are now facing tools like Tableau, Power BI, and Crystal and Jasper and whatever. So lots of BI tools, and in service level management we have to make clear why service level management is still relevant. And so because everybody wants to have to see in real time a state of IT services and IT service quality, yes, we have, first of all, we have to decide what kind of category comes the data from, and because it's so important to define a common language here. So so the first question is, the data we are going to visualize, does it need or require a business logic? So when do we have to present the data? Is it 24/7, or is it in certain business hours? Or so what is the need of the data, and what is in the scope and what is out of the scope? And number two is the data we are trying to visualize. What is the foundation? What is the technical source of it? And if we have it in one system, can we get it from other systems as well? Or is it a single metric only available for a certain system? And what does it mean if I visualize data from this system, right? And then the third category is, okay, I have access to a good data pool, and it's easy to visualize it. And but what is the meaning, and what is in the scope and what is out of the scope? And do I have to fine tune the data, which would fall back to number one, is a business logic behind and required. So this is I think this is a general question which should be sorted out before we create SLA dashboards. And I'm calling my presentation here BizOps can give an orientation in a data-driven world, because that's exactly the point where we are and where we need to find an agreement. So what is the ultimate need of the data, and not only for a department, but for the whole organization. And I think BizOps can deliver an answer here to this question, to this fundamental question. And I will give you a good example. You might have seen this before for the data analysis. In World War II, the B-17 called Flying Fortress bombers, when they came back, they were analyzed, and each point, each red dot on the wings and of the plane are representing a bullet hole from the bombers who returned to the base. So the engineers were thinking, okay, they started an initiative to improve the stability of the airplanes, and they were analyzing the average bullet holes on each plane, and this is representing the picture of it. So you see where the planes were hit, and the first idea was, and this is the obvious idea was, let's improve the plane where it was hit first and damaged the most. And so why don't improving the wings here first of all, and then we're in a good state and we are safe. Okay. So that was the idea. But sometimes it's not about the data you are collecting. Sometimes it's much more important the data which is missing. And in this case, the interesting fact was that only the bullet holes were analyzed from the planes who came back, but not from the planes who get into the ground. So so it was much more interesting was the missing data points, and you can see that there were no data point reported on the cockpit or on the engines. And why is it why is it true? Because all planes who were hit there didn't return. So in the end, it was decided to improve the planes and the engines and the cockpit, and so that reduced the losses. So this little story, I have chosen this little story to show what is our problem in today with real-time data mining and representing in service level management and service level reporting. Often we don't have enough data or not the right data. And so for service level management, I think it is always a category in IT which is cross-functional and cross applications and cross organizations, and we have to find an answer for the whole organization, and therefore we have to take care of collecting the right data. And what is the right data? So and there's a new another new keyword coming up, and is getting more and more popular these days. And the whole industry of monitoring vendors is talking about observability. And observability is delivering an important key performance indicator for BizOps, but also for service level management. It says that it helps to avoid data gaps, because observability is itself is a key performance indicator which says how good am I or can I observe my services or infrastructure in total, and what do I need to monitor and collect the right data? First of all, metrics, logs, and traces. And if I have a combination of those three ingredients, I would call it, I'm in a very good shape to have the best observability for my company or for my organization. And this is an important. So I'm leading the way to BizOps. So what does it mean, BizOps? The most easiest and crisp definition of BizOps, which I really like, is connecting IT to business outcomes. It says everything. So it puts the business in focus, and to differentiate BizOps to DevOps, which is pretty similar. I can make it clear here that DevOps helps you to make your development faster and to improve the amount of releases per day or per unit. But BizOps brings in the customer and business perspective, which means that in the end, it gives you the direction for your development. So it's not only important to make the development more agile and faster, but it's also important to give the direction, and the direction is in the sense of BizOps to make and keep a customer on a long term happy and satisfied. And that's about BizOps. And it's a as Hans said, it's a huge framework, and it is still in the beginning, I would say. And there are lots of definitions out there. And one of the drivers of the BizOps idea is currently Broadcom. They are offering a very nice web page. It's called www.bizops.com. There you can find tons of content to this topic. And in our market and for our customers, Amazon is driving this idea as well. So we created a community, and this community can be accessed over the website bizopsforum.io. And we also, as Joseph and Hans mentioned, probably an yearly event taking place. We plan it currently in a digital form for May, and there we try to bring together best practice and good ideas how to do BizOps, right? And so I saw on best presentation, which I really like here, some good ideas and good input for BizOps already, because she put on her slides two important things here. As a driver for her service level management, she said we need to create competitive advantage. That's overall very business driven metric, and then mitigate financial risk and strengthen client relationship. Those all three goals are perfectly in sync with the idea of BizOps. But it also means that we have to think about a new set of metrics, right? so next gen service quality management needs some other metrics as we know from today. So I think the availability KPI is really overused and not up to date anymore, as it could be still used for certain use cases, but if we turn towards business, I think we need to cover and define new metrics. So, for example, just to give you an idea, agility is an important metric, a value, business impact, waste, customer lifetime value. Those are or customer experience. Those metrics should be somehow defined in our SLAs, and last but not least, in the service level reporting. So that this is my little hands-on guidance to BizOps, and yes, I would now like to open it up to for discussion, because this should only an introduction here for BizOps. How do you see it? What do you think about BizOps? Is this a requirement of your organization as well? Where do you see strengths and weaknesses, and where do you see your challenges? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, Frank. Maybe just to add to that, the discussion should be here, because if you look at the 7 characteristics of an effective AI ops solution, you have observability, you have noise reduction, alert correlation, causality discovery, collaboration, data visualization, and that's where, with those 6, that's where you realize the real business value. So let's open this up to questions, and it would be interesting to hear your perceptions on what Frank said.
Yeah, Joseph here. Maybe one remark, and that's I had always trouble discussing with people about real-time dashboard, about the what's real time. So I really like to have business real time, just to separate from the technical real time. So and it's the best example are the KPIs you show here. So how can you measure customer satisfaction in real time? That's something I think, and it's the same as from what we had with the presentation of Beth. It's also all about the processes behind, and therefore it's not the technical real time. It's but you really have to be actually informed what's going on. That's the point. So
exactly, and what are you saying, Joseph? It is important the business logic. How complex is the business logic behind visualizing certain data, and if the data is just valid in a certain period of time, or in certain let's put it this way, in certain period of time, then it requires definitely a business logic, and this could not always be in real time, that's for sure, and therefore this decision has been made in advance, and that should be the first proof point, and also in the conversation with with all the people who are requesting self-made or do-it-yourself SLA dashboards, right? So I remember some of our customers who are coming to us and knocking on our door and saying, our end customers like to have full access to our service level management reporting. How can I prevent that, and how should I argue? And I think that's the right way to argue. It's but nevertheless there is a need, and this need has to be channeled and somehow investigated. And then I think service level reporting is a good place in each organization to do this job, because this part in the organization is was able to think cross borders and behind certain department borders, and therefore I think it's the right place to guide this need of data-driven analytics.
Absolutely, and but I would, let's say, extend what you said. It's the small differences. We should not talk only about service level reporting. We should really talk about service level management, because it's such a difference. And as we see more and more, and it was also what Shiva said with the reporting tools. That's not the point. It's the management point of view. It's
Right.
how you manage the contracts, how do you manage the outcome, and then you do a reporting with whatsoever presentation tool. I think that's the future.
And then therefore it's yeah, and here BizOps can really help here to give the direction, and so if you have always in mind that there should be that everything you are reporting and you are putting together finally should pay into the goal connecting IT to business outcome, then it makes that's a clear guidance for the journey.
Absolutely. Good. Any comments from the group, because we are now approaching the end?
I think it was a great presentation, Frank, and especially the aeroplane and the bullet story. I think we potentially have CIA and FBI now approaching us for the solutions.
It was a powerful analogy. I really appreciated it, and I think it BizOps, the whole concept. I love the concept of observability, and I think that is why we've had some eye-opening occur this year, is because we've started to be able to see beyond the visible metrics and to look at what we're able to provide to the organization. I think one of the interesting things to me is going to be, how do we improve the measurements that we do present to our clients versus the insights that we retain specifically for internal analysis. And because obviously, there's a lot here that we need to know internally, but I also think there's room to improve what we're measuring on for the client as well. And I think BizOps still plays a part in that. So interested to kind of pursue the concept and to see where it can take us. So thank you for this.
And Beth, it's really the comparison with these airplanes, etc. If you really go back to history, also the advantage in radar technology was one of the really success factors. So we come back to collecting the right data with the right technology.
Yes.
Yeah, and as I think that was also to me a very good example. I think it's not new. I hope I didn't bore you or those who already knew this example. But I think it's to put it
the old story
in our content. It's I think it's a good analogy here.
The issue, I love the saying. It's called you don't know what you don't know. That's something which should be interesting. And I hope that in my further career I can concentrate also more on these processes and things behind. That's something I really am looking forward. So thanks again from my side for your attendance. Thanks for a long time of user groups, the people I met in person. It was great pleasure for me to work together with you. The people I just met in the user group was also a pleasure for me. As I said, reach out to me via LinkedIn. That's the tool of choice. And yeah, I'm really excited on how the user group will develop further. And maybe Hans and Mohit, do you want to have any ideas on or any remarks how you want to proceed?
Yes, go ahead, Mohit. I think you've got the next block.
Yeah. So just in the process of finding the successor for Dr. Yusuf, in case anyone in this group is interested, you can send out your interest on the BSI for the BSI User Group President over email to me or Shiva. We'll definitely send out details and instructions over an email. So you're welcome to place your interest for that. Yeah.
Okay.
And Hans, over to you for the contest.
Okay, great. Well, let's put a wrap on this. First of all, thank you, Frank. That was a wonderful presentation, and what a great thought of using the BizOps processes for building enterprise SLM. I'm sure we can leverage the BizOps, make the best out of it. What I also have to say, just in passing, is you have to realize that the B-17 is my favorite airplane, and this is not scripted. Through time, it's been my favorite airplane. I've been in one before, and I can tell you one thing. It looks big on the screen. It looks big in the movies, but when you're inside, it's like you're flying in a submarine. You cannot stand up. It's an amazing experience. I'll go back to what Beth said. How do we improve internal analysis? I think the ability to see data and information in business real time with dashboards and we also have a concept called an operational cockpit. These are really powerful ways of delivering business information and data in a digestible form that high level decision makers can see on the screen. So that will conclude our session. Except first of all, just one last little bit of housekeeping. Understand if some of you have to drop off, but this is important. One more thing before we wrap up. We are creating a contest to invite you attendees to take the BSI challenge. Now, what is that? We want you to tell us what your company is doing that is new and innovative to expand the use and capabilities of BSI. Now, here's some suggestions. Tell us what your company is doing that is more than just SLM using BSI. Tell us about BSI integrations to other apps or platforms. Tell us if you're enhancing or improving your reporting using BSI. Tell us about how you're bringing in data and if there's any new data sources that you've linked to. And also tying back into Beth's conversation, Beth's presentation, working with BSI in an analytics environment. So attendees will receive an email after the event thanking them for the event. And the details about the presidential nomination and the election will be in that email. And also an invite for you to take the BSI challenge. You can then email that back to us with any questions you might come up with or that weren't asked in today's session. We will then look at the entries for the BSI challenge, and the winner will get a free BSI use case analysis. And that's not something to think is small. We look very closely at use cases, and we, after 20 years of experience in SLM and BSI, we know most all of them, including the future ones. So thank you everyone for your participation, and especially to all the speakers who shared their ideas and thoughts with us. We we plan to have our next BSI user group soon. And until then, everyone be safe and healthy. Happy holidays and best wishes for a healthier and happier new year than this one. And with that, we're signing off.
The same for me, and bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.